Commander Kim Tae-ho stood in the communication center, his face pale as the holographic message flickered before him. The alien's blue-tinted features showed no emotion as it delivered humanity's death sentence. The cosmic storm approaches Earth. In 72 hours, Council Speaker Veltar announced coldly. Resources are limited. Priority species have been selected for relocation. The words hit like a physical blow. Tae-ho had fought alongside these aliens in 3 different wars. He had shared drinks with their commanders, celebrated victories, together mourned their dead. Oh, they spoke of humanity like livestock not worth saving? Engineer Park Min-ji burst into the room, her tablet shaking in her hands. Commander, they're taking everything, she said, her voice breaking. The fusion reactors we designed, the quantum computers, even the medical technology we developed to save their wounded soldiers. They're stripping our orbital stations bare. Through the massive windows of the Seoul Command Center, they could see the alien ships departing. Massive vessels that humanity had helped build, powered by human innovations, filled with refugees from a dozen worlds, but no humans. Not a single one. Dr. Lee Jamin pulled up the sensor readings on the main screen. The cosmic phenomenon was already visible, a wall of deadly radiation sweeping across the galaxy like a tsunami of death. It had already consumed 4 star systems, leaving nothing but lifeless rocks in its wake. How long do we have? Tae-ho asked, though he already knew the answer. 72 hours until the first wave hits, Lee Jamin replied quietly. The radiation will cook everything on the surface. Underground might buy us a few more days, but ... Didn't need to finish. They all understood. This wasn't just about the storm. The aliens were taking their technology, their research, their contributions to galactic civilization. They were being erased from history before they were even dead. Park. Min-ji slammed her fist on the control panel. Gave them everything. The new shield generators that saved their colonies. The medical nanobots that cured their plagues. The faster-than-light communication systems they're using right now to coordinate this evacuation. We made them stronger, and this is how they repay us? The last alien vessel disappeared into hyperspace with a flash of blue light. Earth was alone now, facing extinction with nothing but human ingenuity and determination. Tae-ho looked at his team, these brilliant minds who had spent there. Lives reaching for the stars, building bridges between species, creating wonders that had amazed the galaxy. Now they were abandoned, left to die by the very beings they had called friends. They think we're finished, he said quietly, watching the cosmic storm grow larger on the horizon. They think humanity ends here. Park Min-ji wiped her eyes and straightened her shoulders. Then let's prove them wrong. Betrayal burned in their hearts, but something else burned there too. The same fire that had driven humanity from caves to the stars. They had 72 hours to do the impossible. The storm was coming. But humanity wasn't going quietly into the night. Jang Woo-seok was scavenging through the ruins of Seoul Spaceport. When he found it, a piece of alien technology that had been overlooked in the hasty evacuation. The device was small, no bigger than his fist, but it hummed with energy that made his enhanced senses tingle. This is incredible, he muttered, carefully placing the object in his collection bag. The aliens had left behind more than just debris. They had abandoned pieces of their civilization. Fragments of technology that humanity had helped create but never fully understood in the underground laboratories beneath the ruins of old cities. Nam Yune led teams of brilliant minds who had been changed by the cosmic storm. They worked in secret, driven by curiosity and a burning need to understand what their former allies had kept hidden from them. The quantum resonance patterns are all wrong, she explained to her team, her enhanced mind processing calculations that would have taken pre-storm humans weeks to complete. They built these devices to be deliberately limited. They were holding back their real capabilities. The cosmic radiation had done more than just scar the planet. It had somehow rewired human brains, making connections faster and stronger. People who had been average before the storm now displayed genius-level intelligence. Those who had been smart before were now operating on levels that seemed almost supernatural. Oh, Haeonwoo called out from his workstation, his voice filled with excitement. Look at this. Their quantum processors are actually primitive compared to what we can build now. He held up a device that looked like a crystal, but pulsed with inner light. We've taken their basic design and improved it by 300%. The revelation hit the research teams like a thunderbolt. The aliens hadn't just abandoned humanity. They had been deliberately limiting human technological development. The equipment they had shared was simplified, dumbed down, designed to keep humanity dependent on alien expertise. But now, with their enhanced abilities and access to abandoned alien technology, humans were leapfrogging centuries of development. In just a few years, Shinbora stood in the hidden construction facility carved into an asteroid belt, watching the first human stealth ship take shape. The vessel was sleek and deadly, incorporating technologies that the galactic community had never seen before. Its hull was made from materials that bent light around them, making the ship invisible to conventional sensors. The propulsion system is ready for testing, her chief engineer reported. We've managed to create a drive that doesn't leave any energy signature. Even their most advanced scanners won't detect us. The ship's interior was a marvel of human innovation. Quantum computers that could process information faster than entire alien fleets. Weapon systems that could tear through shields like paper. Navigation systems that could plot courses through dimensions the aliens didn't even know existed. Within 2 decades, humanity had built a secret fleet of ships that surpassed anything in the galactic database. They had developed faster-than-light travel that left no trace, quantum weapons that could phase through enemy shields, and artificial intelligence systems that made alien computers look like stone tools. The first human scouts began exploring the galaxy in complete secrecy. Their ships moved like ghosts through space, gathering intelligence and mapping alien territories. They discovered trade routes, military installations, and the locations of the species that had supposedly been saved. From the cosmic storm, what they found filled them with cold fury. The aliens hadn't just abandoned humanity, they had lied. About everything else, too. The time for hiding was almost over. Humanity had been left to die, but they had emerged from their graves stronger than ever. And they had plans for their former allies. Captain Han Minsu gripped the armrests of his command chair as his stealth ship drifted through the outer edges of what used to be Council territory. The vessel moved like a shadow through space. Advanced cloaking systems making it completely invisible to alien sensors. Approaching the Kepler system, his navigator reported quietly. Energy signatures suggest heavy industrial activity. Minsu had volunteered for this mission knowing it would be dangerous. The first human deep space reconnaissance in 50 years. Their mission was simple. Find out what happened to the species the Council claimed to have saved from the cosmic storm. What they discovered made his blood run cold. The planet below was covered in massive mining operations. Gigantic machines stripped the surface bare, while thousands of beings worked in conditions that could only be described as slavery. These weren't the thriving colonies the Council had promised. These were labor camps. "Captain, you need to see this," called Seo Yenji from the intelligence station. Her enhanced human senses were processing data streams that would have overwhelmed pre-storm technology. "I'm picking up communication signals from the surface. These aren't voluntary workers, they're prisoners. The rescued species that the Council had supposedly evacuated to safety were now digging in mines, assembling weapons in factories, and building infrastructure for their alien overlords. Their children were born into bondage, never knowing freedom." The Council lied. Seo Yanji continued, her voice filled with disgust. "They didn't evacuate these species to save them. They used the crisis to consolidate power and create a massive slave workforce." Minsu ordered his ship to move closer to the main Council administrative facility. If they were going to understand the full scope of this betrayal, they needed hard evidence. Lim Sun-jo volunteered for the most dangerous part of the mission. Using technology that could phase him through solid matter, he infiltrated the heavily guarded Council archives. His enhanced human abilities allowed him to process and download terabytes of data in minutes. What he found in those files was worse than anyone had imagined. The abandonment of humanity hadn't been a difficult decision made under pressure. It had been planned for years. Earth's population was marked as a threat to the established galactic order long before the cosmic storm appeared. Back on the ship, intelligence analyst Quan Hei-wan read through the stolen documents with growing horror. "They called us the Disruptors," she announced to the crew. "It's innovative to independent. Look at this. They have detailed reports about how human creativity was spreading to other species, making them question council authority. The files revealed a conspiracy that spanned decades. The council had been deliberately limiting human technological development, feeding them simplified versions of alien technology to keep them dependent. When that wasn't enough, they had used the cosmic storm as an excuse to eliminate the problem entirely. They planned this from the beginning," Quan Hei-wan continued, her voice shaking with rage. "The storm was just a convenient excuse. It would have found another way to get rid of us eventually." The reconnaissance mission revealed the full scope of the betrayal. The Council hadn't just abandoned humanity, they had turned the entire galaxy into their personal empire, with themselves as the ruling class and everyone else as slaves. But they had made one critical mistake. They had assumed humanity was dead, as Captain Han Minsu ordered his ship to return to Earth. Carried with him evidence that would change everything. The scattered intelligence from a dozen worlds painted a picture of systematic oppression and calculated genocide. The aliens had left humanity to die, but they had also created their own worst nightmare. They had forged the survivors into something harder, smarter, and more determined than they could have imagined. And now those survivors knew the truth. Admiral Cho Byung-hun stood on the bridge of humanity's flagship, watching the tactical display as his fleet prepared for the moment they had all been waiting for. 50 years of preparation, 50 years of building in secret, 50 years of burning rage, it all came down to this. "All ships report ready, Admiral," his communications officer announced. Around him, the stealth fleet hung in the darkness of space like sleeping predators. 200 vessels, each one incorporating technology that surpassed anything the galaxy had ever seen. Remember Cho Byung-hun said into his come, addressing every captain in the fleet, "We're not just fighting for ourselves, we're fighting for every species they've enslaved, every world they've conquered, every life they've destroyed. Today we show them what happens when you abandon humanity." The three target systems held the Council's most important military installations. The Vega defense grid protected their core worlds. The Centauri command base coordinated their slave operations. The Altair weapons research facility developed the technology that kept their empire intact. "All units, commence Operation Reckoning," he commanded. The human ships dropped out of hyperspace simultaneously across 3 star systems. One moment, space was empty. The next, it was filled with death. The Council's sensors couldn't detect them. Their ships appeared as ghosts, invisible until the moment they opened fire. The first volley of human weapons tore through enemy shields like they were made of paper. Defense platforms that had protected the Council for centuries exploded in brilliant flashes of light. Major Kim Yoo-jin led her fighter squadron through the chaos around Centauri command base. Her pilots moved with inhuman precision, their enhanced reflexes allowing them to dance between enemy fire while delivering devastating strikes. "Target their communication arrays first," she ordered. "We want them confused and isolated." Her fighters moved like a pack of wolves, dismantling the enemy's response before they could organize a counterattack. The Council's military doctrine was based on overwhelming firepower and technological superiority. They had never faced an enemy that could simply disappear and reappear at will. "Enemy fighters are trying to regroup," reported her wingman. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies, calling for reinforcements." "Let them call," Kim Yoo-jin replied coldly. "They're reinforcements. Will just give us more targets." The Council's response was chaotic and desperate. Alarms blared across their command centers as reports flooded in from all 3 systems. Their military commanders couldn't understand what was happening. The attacks seemed to come from nowhere. Striking with impossible precision, Park Jung-soo monitored enemy communications from his intelligence ship, listening to the panic spreading through their ranks. "Unknown attackers have destroyed our fleets," came the frantic transmissions. "We're under attack by an invisible force. Our weapons can't lock onto them." The fear in their voices was music to his ears. These were the same aliens who had coldly announced humanity's death sentence 50 years ago. They were experiencing terror for the first time in their pampered lives. "Admiral, the Vega defense grid is completely offline," reported the tactical officer. "Centauri command base is in flames. Altair Research Facility is requesting permission to surrender." "No surrender, Cho," Byung-Hun replied firmly. "They didn't offer us that option." Within 6 hours, the Council's military might was crippled. Their most advanced ships were floating debris. Their command structures were in chaos. Their arrogance had become their weakness. They had never expected retaliation from the species they left to die, but this was just the beginning. The first strike had been about crippling their ability to respond. What came next would be about justice.